Look, if you're managing enterprise devices, you need to hear this right now. Welcome to this Code Ninja Security Advisory. We're issuing a critical threat briefing today, and we're jumping right into this explainer. What we've got here is CVE 2025-48595. It's an actively exploited zero-day vulnerability hiding deep inside the core Android framework. And guys, this isn't just theoretical. Threat actors are literally exploiting this in the wild as we speak to silently escalate privileges and grab complete system-level control. We need to lock this down immediately, so let's get to work.
So 8.4, that's the CVSS base score for this vulnerability. Officially, that makes it a high-severity flaw. But let's talk about what that number actually means on the ground. This is a critical Local Privilege Escalation flaw, an LPE. It completely bypasses your standard OS defenses. Imagine an attacker starting with a restricted, low-level access state, and then, boom, they vault straight to the absolute highest system permissions. It basically kicks the front door to your device's core wide open. All right, let's walk through this exposure timeline really quick. Back in September 2025, there was some early mitigation. Privacy-focused OS makers like Graphene OS actually caught this and pushed preventative patches. But here's the crazy part. From September 2025 all the way to May 2026, we had an active exploitation window. We're talking months of threat actors weaponizing this against unpatched devices. The official patch only dropped on June 1st, 2026. And CISA, they slammed federal agencies with a mandatory compliance deadline of June 5th, a 4-day turnaround. That alone tells you exactly how terrifyingly serious this is.
Okay, so why are we releasing this briefing today? We have 3 main objectives. First, we need to force vendor patches. We literally cannot afford to wait around for delayed, over-the-air updates from manufacturers. Second, we want to give you immediate, actionable mitigation steps that you can implement right now. And third, we have to protect the perimeter. Unpatched mobile devices are essentially open highways right into your corporate network. We're here to shut those pathways down.
But before we break down the actual technical payload of this exploit, let's take a quick tactical pause. I need to verify that our comms link is secure and that you're receiving this intelligence loud and clear.
You know, in our line of work, getting real-time intelligence is usually the difference between keeping your perimeter secure and suffering a catastrophic breach. So let's establish our operational security protocol right now. Secure the link by hitting subscribe to Cybertech 79 and turning on those notifications. That makes sure you get these critical advisories the absolute second they go live. And do me a favor, drop a like on this explainer. Treat that button as a formal ACK, a confirmed receipt of this intel. Link secured? Awesome. Let's move to Phase 3.
Moving into the protocol, let's define the blast radius.
Let's break down the root cause. We're looking at a CWE 190, which is an integer overflow. Think of it like trying to pour a gallon of water into a shot glass. It happens when an arithmetic operation tries to compute a numeric value that's just way too large for the allocated memory space to hold. In this specific case, the flaw is buried deep within the Android framework APIs, that core system layer managing how apps talk to the hardware. When an attacker intentionally triggers this overflow, it shatters the normal boundaries and causes unintended, elevated system behavior.
Now, here is the truly terrifying reality of this exploit chain, the zero-touch execution. Once an attacker gets baseline code execution on a phone, say through a sketchy sideloaded app or a drive-by browser exploit, this vulnerability automatically shatters the Android OS sandbox. It hands over root or system-level access without asking the user for a single thing. No permission pop-ups to click, nothing to approve. It is entirely invisible to the user.
And the landscape of affected devices is absolutely massive. If your fleet runs Android 14, 15, or 16 and they don't have that specific June 1st, 2026 security patch level, they're vulnerable. Because this is a core framework bug, the hardware manufacturer doesn't even matter. Google Pixel, Samsung Galaxy, Motorola, Xiaomi, they are all exposed until you verify that exact patch level across your entire environment.
So what does this mean for your business? This isn't just about bad actors reading someone's personal texts. Threat actors, specifically commercial spyware vendors, are actively using this to target enterprise bring-your-own-device fleets. BYOD is a massive liability here. If a phone is compromised, corporate email is wide open. VPN credentials and auth tokens can be easily stolen. Even those lockdown Android kiosk endpoints can be turned into breached beachheads right into your internal networks.
It's a really stark contrast we're facing right now. On one side, the attacker takes the path of least resistance, simple sideloaded malware that silently steps up to root control. On the flip side, we have you, the defender, and your response absolutely cannot rely on hope. It requires an uncompromising strategy of zero-trust containment and rapid validation of your security patch levels.
Next up in the protocol, actionable mitigation.
All right, system administrators, listen up. You have 4 critical steps to execute today. Step 1, audit your fleet through your mobile device management platform and instantly quarantine any device missing that June 2026 patch. Step 2, restrict all sideloading of unknown apps to kill that initial access vector. Step 3, hunt for persistent payloads. Remember, if a device was compromised in May, installing a patch in June doesn't magically delete the malware. And Step 4, aggressively deploy that 2026-0601 SPL update.
Now, for those of you stuck waiting on delayed patches from the manufacturer, you've got to manually neutralize that access vector. If you don't have enterprise MDM controls, here is an exact ADB Android Debug Bridge Intervention command for you. Run this across your connected devices to globally disable the installation of non-market apps. It's a quick fix, but it literally stops the primary delivery mechanism for this exploit dead in its tracks.
For the threat hunters out there, remember what I said. Patching locks the front door, but it doesn't evict the guy already hiding in your living room. Your IR teams need to actively look for behavioral anomalies. Filter your device logcad for fatal exceptions coming from android.os.binder. Check your process tables for UID 0, that's root, and look for non-system processes running with God mode privileges. Also, make sure to audit your app inventories for anything with null installer origins or weird runtime permission grants.
Moving on to Phase 4, ethics and sign-off.
Look, staying silent about targeted commercial spyware only helps the bad guys. Users need to know what's going on so they can protect their systems and force vendors to issue fixes. That massive gap between the early mitigations in late 2025 and the widespread patch in June 2026 left millions of people completely exposed. So, in the strict spirit of coordinated vulnerability disclosure, we are releasing this structured intel, not to spark panic, but to arm defenders with the exact knowledge they need to fight back.
I want to leave you with a serious, provocative question. Take a hard look at your current security posture. Knowing that these invisible, zero-click threats can just effortlessly bypass standard Android sandboxes to get root access, is your enterprise perimeter truly secure from a zero-touch infiltration? Take the intelligence from this explainer, audit your fleets today, and close those gaps.
Execute on the protocols we just laid out. Update your systems, hunt down that persistence, and absolutely never trust an unverified endpoint. Stay secure.